England sneaked through, but let's be completely honest, that nightmare start almost ruined everything and left the entire nation holding its breath. If you watched the match, you know exactly what kind of tension we are talking about, because while the scoreboard says one thing, the actual performance on the pitch told a completely different story. It was a roller coaster of emotions where relief ultimately triumphed over tactical disaster, but the massive questions hanging over this squad are not going away anytime soon. How does a team with this much world-class talent look so completely lost for huge portions of a crucial game, and more importantly, how did one specific player manage to have such a disastrous opening that it nearly derailed the entire game plan before England could even find their footing? We are breaking down the complete player ratings, the standout performers who saved the day, the glaring weaknesses that need to be fixed immediately, and the tactical reality of what this means for the next match, because if things don't change fast, the next opponent will not be so forgiving. When the opening whistle blew, England needed immediate control, composure, and a clear statement of intent, but instead, they got a chaotic, frantic nightmare start that exposed deep-rooted vulnerabilities. The midfield was supposed to be the engine room, the area where England dominated possession and dictated the tempo of the game, but instead, it became a zone of pure panic. One player in particular looked completely off the pace from the very first minute, giving the ball away cheaply, failing to track runners, and looking visually rattled by the opponent's aggressive pressing. This wasn't just a slow start, it was a tactical liability that forced the defense into desperate, last-ditch tackles and completely cut off the supply line to the forward line. When you are playing at this level, a nightmare start from a key player doesn't just affect their own performance, it creates a domino effect across the entire pitch, forcing teammates out of position to cover the gaps and destroying any sense of rhythm. Fans in the stadium and at home were left scratching their heads, wondering how a player of this caliber could look so entirely out of depth when the stakes were so incredibly high. Despite the early chaos and the overwhelming sense of dread, a few select individuals refused to let England sink, stepping up with heroic performances to drag the team through to the next round. The defensive resilience from the central defenders was nothing short of spectacular, facing a barrage of attacks fueled by England's own unforced errors in possession. Time and time dynamics shifted because of individual brilliance rather than cohesive team play, with the goalkeeper making a couple of crucial, game-saving stops that kept hope alive when the structures completely broke down. Up front, the attacking spark was isolated but deadly when it mattered most, showing that individual world-class quality can sometimes bail out a flawed system, but relying on moments of magic is a highly dangerous strategy as the tournament progresses. We have to give immense credit to the players who stood tall under immense pressure, showing the grit, determination, and mental toughness required to survive an off night, but we also cannot let those brilliant individual moments blind us to the massive, undeniable problems that were on full display. Let's look closely at the player ratings to understand exactly who deserves the praise and who needs a serious wake-up call before the next kickoff. Starting from the back, the goalkeeper earned a highly commendable rating, showing elite concentration despite being left completely exposed by a crumbling midfield during that dreadful first half. The fullbacks had a mixed night, struggling to offer width in attack while being caught in two minds defensively, though they managed to recover their composure in the second half as the opponent's intensity naturally began to fade. The centre-backs were the real unsung heroes of the match, earning top-tier ratings for their aerial dominance, crucial interceptions, and the sheer bravery they displayed while under constant, sustained pressure. But as we move into the midfield, the ratings take a massive, undeniable nosedive, reflecting a performance that lacked creativity, urgency, and defensive awareness. The player responsible for that nightmare start receives the lowest rating on the pitch, a score that reflects not just technical errors, but a complete lack of tactical discipline that almost cost England their place in the tournament. The attacking unit also presented a fascinating paradox in the ratings, with flashes of absolute genius mixed with long periods of complete anonymity. The lack of service from the midfield meant the forwards were often forced to drop incredibly deep just to touch the ball, which completely starved the penalty box of a central threat and made England entirely predictable to defend against. When the ball did finally reach the final third with some pace, the decision-making was often rushed, leading to wasted opportunities and frustrated body language across the pitch. However, when the decisive moment arrived, the star attackers showed why they are trusted on the biggest stage, delivering the clinical edge that ultimately decided the match and secured advancement. It's a harsh reality where a player can get a low rating for 85 minutes of frustration, but completely rewrite the narrative with one single, priceless moment of quality that saves the nation's ambitions. So, what does this narrow, stressful escape actually mean for England's next match, and how can the team avoid repeating these exact same mistakes? The next opponent will have watched this footage with absolute glee, mapping out the exact blueprints on how to press England's midfield, isolate their forwards, and exploit the lack of cohesion in transition. Changes simply must be made, whether that means a bold tactical shift in formation or dropping underperforming stars in favor of hungry, dynamic options waiting on the bench. The luxury of sneaking through with a subpar performance is officially over, because from this point forward, the margin for error is absolutely zero. England proved they have the resilience and the individual talent to survive a nightmare scenario, but to actually win and progress further, they must find a way to play as a unified, dominant collective. This match will be debated for days to come, and everyone has a different opinion on who is truly to blame for the struggles and who deserves the ultimate credit for the rescue mission. Now, I want to hear exactly what you think about this performance and the ratings we just broke down. Who do you think was the absolute best player on the pitch, and who do you think had the biggest nightmare start? Should the manager make drastic changes for the next game, or should we trust this starting 11 to bounce back stronger? Drop your thoughts, tactical breakdowns, and predictions in the comments below because I read through them and love seeing your perspective. If you enjoyed this deep dive analysis and want to stay updated with all the latest football news, player ratings, and tournament coverage, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like on the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.